right, it's 5 till 6 on Tuesday the 27th, 2026. Going into the Parks and Rec Advisory Board meeting.
Enough that you feel like yourself, but it's nice enough you can.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, if I wanna go to work, I just put it in my big tote. First in my purse.
Yes, I have my big note, but yes.
My purse in my
Immediately with
purse.
our articles, and said, this is why,
Yeah.
this is.
I know, I like it.
I saw this little thing,
And
it's
there's
like,
Warren and
why
Frank
did you
and
work
the
at
project.
And I'm like, well, because
Yeah, they're not very aesthetic.
Until they disintegrate.
But, you know, at my lunch, I said, yeah, they're like, "Hey, you're a backpack," and I'm like, oh, God.
It's like that whenever I was pumping, there's like, oh my God.
Yeah, I feel like I'm,
And then when I had to do that, yeah.
I feel like I'm moving, and I'm leaving today, I'm packing like 2 meals of snack, and
Yeah.
it's a situation. It
So
is.
my freshman, he practiced soccer before school, like, cause they didn't have after school. So we'd be leaving the house at 5:45 a.m. and they all got in the habit of, they put their backpack on, then they put their soccer bag on the
Yes.
front, so they're like front backpack.
Yes.
It was like just turtle. Ready for the whole day.
That's how my daughter looked for softball, is that she had her backpack and then her softball gear. She does not miss those days.
I took for granted, like, we just have everything in his car. So
Yeah.
it wasn't shoving it around.
Yes.
Billy,
Yes, sir.
3,200 feet is Holiday Lights.
Oh, the total feet in the city?
Yes.
That's.
You did the math?
No, I asked Celia.
Yeah.
They didn't charge you overtime?
I got my tape measure out. Yeah, she said approximately 3,200 feet.
Huh, impressive.
How's that?
He's okay, his son George, my mother-in-law has been tired and she regained her balance, she's still on the edge. And,
Kind of expected.
it's something,
Lots to do.
well, she's our last one.
Good morning, or afternoon, oh my goodness, what a day.
So this grand-
I don't wanna go back to the morning,
No,
so let's
no,
not, I don't want to start
And
over.
they just have to go to an assistant living.
And were all the hearts found?
His mom's.
I believe so.
Like, she's one of the helpers.
I haven't seen any more hits.
No, they're done, that ended with the
Whether
birthday
we
party.
want to do that or not. It's a lot of change.
I'm good, how are you?
Moving pieces together.
Did you have a good holiday?
It was good. Happy New Year.
Anywhere else already seen. Still like to
Is Dave already out the door?
No, they're at the annual conference, so I have 4 staff there this week.
It was
And
not an
Luca,
easy transition
so
for him. whether it's in check-
He knew he wasn't gonna be here.
That's a- okay.
Yeah, you got
I see.
Yeah.
This would have been his last one, right?
Yeah, he won't, his last one was November, he won't be in any.
Oh, well, oh.
No, his retirement is February 13th.
I'll go to the party.
I think it's just a way for her to do it herself. Anything.
I'm glad you added that the presentation would be
At specific times?
Yes.
Yeah, I try to, just so people can plan
We
accordingly.
have some of those, so we.
Or if they don't wanna be there for that, you know.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't wanna be there for the whole.
Yeah, well, some people just wanna come and go and wish well and leave, and other people kinda wanna, you know, see the, you know, when we somewhat roast him.
I have lots of good pictures from that.
Oh, we've been digging a lot, we've dug up some pictures, I actually found his first staff photo, that was on his very first ID badge, oh yeah, he looks like he's 12.
It's a roast time.
It's funny. He challenged me to find a handful of photos like he knew existed, but he wasn't sure where they were at,
Oh, gosh.
and so I dug on a Friday afternoon when I'm like, I really don't wanna start anything new, but this needs to be done. I had to dig out like an old, Blu-ray player because we have photos on like discs, so yeah, it was,
One like, I don't know, but my work computers for years haven't had CD drives.
oh no, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah, that doesn't
We have a little
exist.
portable one that
Yeah.
we pass around.
Yeah, we have a department one, and I was, when I plugged it in, it was like, oh, come on, honey, just,
You can do it.
a little bit longer, a little bit longer.
That's gonna be like a component of the joke, that you had to go get, like, a converter.
Yeah, let me plug in the CD drive here.
And I had to actually scan photos, like true developed photos, yeah. You know you've been someplace a really long time when you see several renditions of. Doug is not gonna be here, it was on a vacation, I believe, that's this
That's the
month.
one you sent, yeah.
Good time to go, really.
Time to
Long
go.
way south.
Yeah, no kidding.
Should we try to get
We
started?
do, we're legal.
Okay. Roll call and attendance, so we're missing Doug,
And David.
David, and Tyson, Mickey. All right, so any, public comments, and then an update here, we're gonna match how the city is conducting their meetings, and individuals with public comments are limited to, this says 5 minutes at the beginning of
Oh,
the meeting,
it does,
or 3,
it does say
okay.
3 now, I caught that. Thank you.
Billy, do you have any public comments?
Yeah, are you saying that you're not gonna allow comment during the meeting on a topic?
I
Or
believe that's
just 3
correct,
total?
yes. Just at the beginning of the meeting.
Alright, well, in that case, I would like to know what happened with the Christmas tree in the courtyard where it didn't come on when it was supposed to, or how that's, how those are connected, like the different lights and stuff. I'm curious about that. That's all.
I'll address that during that report.
Okay. That will be addressed during that report.
Thank you.
Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the November meeting? Did anybody have any questions or updates?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And to the staff reports.
Okay, so, I'll just say this during the meeting, Dave, sends his condolences, but he, is at the annual, Kansas Park and Recreation, Kansas Recreation Parks, they do annually, conference. He had registered for that, so, and he still needs CEUs to maintain his certification. So he's there with several other staff members, so he will not be attending any more park board meetings, so I will be running through both sections of tonight's report. So we'll go ahead and get started with that. Just, yes,
Sorry, has the process begun for replacement?
not yet.
Gotcha.
We are evaluating our organizational structure and trying to decide if we need to tweak anything like that. So, the plan is maybe to make a decision in February and move forward at that time. Yeah, we will be replacing, but just maybe a different position.
It's hard to replace it, irreplaceable.
Yes, I mean, it is, but as any time that you have a vacancy, it's time to evaluate your structure and make sure
Yeah, sure.
what we thought 6 years ago is still feasible.
Okay.
So as part of your packet, there was a memo included, and I'd like to give you a handful of updates to that information. As part of the 2026 budget, we had identified the need to purchase a new floor machine. The existing floor machine was something we had on loan from City Hall, which we have been using full-time for almost the entire 5 years we've been in operation. It's 10 years old in total, and its repair costs were now outweighing the cost of looking at a new machine. So we had budgeted a new machine in, please note that David. Hey David, you're fine, you're good, careful over here, yeah. So we are in the process of, we've ordered a new machine. It was on our bid process that we have established. It is battery operated and quieter. It's the same model, just updated, and so we're very excited about that, because we really like that model. Had a cord and was very loud. So
For the gym floor or all floors? or-
this is just for our staff to use, so it'll be for like bathrooms and locker rooms and quick cleanups, cause the, cleaning crew does the big floors. So back before Quick Trip got that cute little robot, it's that machine they had, it was called a T1, so that's the size of the machine we're getting. Yeah. A new set of soccer goals was delivered for Waterfall Park on Monday. You might recall that one of the goals was damaged during the flooding that occurred last fall, or last year, timing, I think it was fall, late summer. We didn't immediately replace it because, we take one of the fields offline for annual maintenance anyway. So we just thought, instead of putting it out, not being used during the summer, we'd wait until, there we go. We thought we would wait until, it was getting closer to the season. So we have that delivered, and Public Works will put that out, before our field rentals begin this spring. At the conclusion of the summer season, we had identified that the striped lounge furniture, slings, were getting very stained by suntan lotion and things like that. So we have ordered new slings for the lounge chairs. We will be, going to solid colors now and eliminating the stripe. It looked very pretty, I'm sure. And it coordinated very nicely, but it's just not feasible with as much stuff as people put on their bodies. So we will be upgrading to, colored solid, still in the same family, still will all coordinate. So those will be improvements that you see, this spring and summer. Any questions about those updates or anything that I had in the community center update itself?
Did we get about the expected life out of those?
Yes. I mean, you'd like them to last a little bit longer, but 5 to 8 years is pretty normal. It's just it was a bad selection of white, and you know, sometimes you know that, but it just, you know, it happens.
Black.
No. They'll be blue and green, so they'll still match, but they still, I mean, the former chairs that we had straps, and we were constantly replacing the strap versions. Like, they sometimes wouldn't even last a year. They get so brittle or stained. So this is a better system, so we're excited that they've lasted 5 seasons. So we'll see, because the colored ones on the chairs are fine. They're not showing that same damage. So we're hoping it was a color choice, and we can make the pool deck look nice again this summer. In your packet were the annual membership reports, for November and December, since we didn't meet during that time frame.
Going back, and maybe you already covered it, I was surprised there was only 13 men in the first,
Oh, I didn't cover that, but yeah, there's 13 men. I was impressed that there were 13. Just from a historical standpoint, that's not usually typically something that men aren't usually part of big group exercise classes. That's just not normal. That's more of a female tendency than a male, but yes, there were 13 men. Yeah, I was impressed with the data, like to be able to pull that data and see how close we really were.
So. Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and I don't know, guess we need to do a men's group or something, or boost it up. I would, have 174 or whatever.
It was interesting. I wasn't far off on my guess, just taking a stab at it, but it was interesting to kind of see how the average and the medians all kind of played out in that. So, any other questions?
How bad was the corrosion due to the?
It wasn't bad. It was just over time, because that stainless is in there 24/7.
Yeah.
So like if you walk in, you're like, ooh, the air feels heavy. People that are asthmatic would be like, ooh, it's a little bit harder to breathe, but they're not in there 24/7. If you go down there today, it's back to, they've cleaned it up really well. Baking soda is amazing, and it's a safe cleaning agent, and so the guards have been working to clean the handrails, and it was mainly right there at the zero depth entry that it was the worst.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, I know with all the issues with the desert air, I don't know if it was like starting to become a bigger issue.
No, and the thing that we have to remember with the desert air, unlike our other air handlers, is it runs 24/7, and it runs at full capacity 24/7, and it has a mixture of clean air and chlorinated air, and it's all mixing in there, and so anyone that operates an indoor pool, those things are just it's just constant maintenance because of the workload. It's a workhorse, it's what it does. And so, yes, it's frustrating that it has issues, but we're learning a lot about it. We're reinforcing motor mounts, things that learning as we operate it longer, so.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you guys are, keeping track of it, and,
Yeah.
last thing you want is like, someone to like report like the Great Wolf Lodge or whatever.
Right,
Incidents
yeah.
they have over there, so.
Yeah, no, Cole does a really good job. If the air feels wrong, he's reporting it immediately, so, yeah. We
Great.
just, sometimes there are other things that are out of our control, but we do work to make sure that we're monitoring that to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
So, all right, membership report, I don't have anything to analyze the numbers, I already did that in the report, but I always like to give you a forecasting for where we're at for January. We're forecasting that we will surpass 2025 visitation on Thursday, based on our average number per day. So Thursday, the 29th, we should see us surpass that. We've already surpassed daily visits for 2024 by 201. So we just blew right past January a long time ago of January 2024. When I looked at that, I was like, oh my, which is an indication, yes, we did raise rates a little bit, and they went into effect January 1, but we exceeded revenue of 2024, or I'm sorry, I'm getting my years confused, sorry, I'm not used to saying, we've exceeded revenue of 2025 on Friday, last Friday, a week ago, well, 4 days ago. So yes, some of that is because of a little bit of a rate increase, but when you've surpassed day visits by 201, there's a good indication that you're seeing more people come in, and so that's gonna increase revenue, of course.
So where are we on the increase in prices? I mean, are people paying it?
Yeah,
No problem?
we haven't had.
Renewals?
No, renewals we had a handful of people cancel when they got the letter. We were diligent that if a letter was returned, we went into RecTrack, sent them an email, let them know we had the wrong address on file, gave them a few days to update their address. Then if we didn't get that, we put a tickler on their file that said, hey, we got the wrong address. When they come in, let's correct this type of thing so that we can stay in communication with them. But overall, I mean, we had one lady in particular say, when she came in, we're like, yeah, our rates did go up. And she's just like, that's okay, they haven't gone up in 5 years. Like, people were somewhat expecting of it because it had been 5 years, so. And it was a minor, it wasn't this ginormous increase, it was a couple of dollars to the monthly bill. So, I don't think anybody was shocked by it. Yeah. So, I anticipate being able to bring a 2025 year-end financial review at the February meeting. Just as a reminder, this will be an unaudited review of 2025 that I use based on reports I get from finance. So there could be changes to it, but I always kind of like to give a year-end picture. By February, we'll have closed out all of our expenses. There's still a few opportunity for utilities and things that have to be booked into 2025 before we close that out. So I do like to just report on that quarterly so you guys can see that. So any questions about memberships, visitation, anything along those lines? All right, we'll move into the fall rec report. It's always kind of fun to see where we are compared to the year prior for the season. And I always like to go to the bottom first and show that, hey, look, we did better than we did last year. So overall, we saw a 6.1% increase compared to 2024. The programs that contributed to this increase were adult fitness, yoga, water fitness, 50 plus special events, and daily visits. So all of those categories saw increases from one season to the other. We do look at decreases in participation as well, and I was shocked when I saw the decrease in youth aquatics because that has just been on a steady incline. And so I dug deeper into the numbers to understand that, and unfortunately in December, Super Kids, which is one of our most popular and most attended programs, that instructor was sick several days, so that just drove down participation. But you can see that registration enrolled was the same number. So we still had 125 people, but the participation fell off because of the days the instructor missed. So we do kind of dig down into those numbers when we see that. The same thing I saw in rentals. We'll get into that in just a little bit. There was also a decrease in youth educational. We lost our tumbling and gymnastics instructor. She decided to not teach any longer, and so we haven't been successful in finding a new instructor, so that's why youth educational, dipped. That, was a significant number of children that had participated in that as well. And, you know, we saw a little dip in Build a Plush, just because we learned from previously that 34 might be too many. You know, you learn some things as you do programs, and 34 little people might be too many little people to do that, so,
Preschool prep went down also.
we stopped offering that. It wasn't a
So
success.
it's not a whole year there.
No, that's just for the fall.
I mean, it wasn't even all of fall.
Yeah, we did not offer it all fall. No, yeah. So those are kind of the things we looked at there. But we are seeking a tumbling and gymnastics instructor, you know, just reaching out to resources to find out who offers it and where we might be able to snag somebody with experience that is looking to do something like that.
How do you reach out?
We kind of contact, so for instance, we could reach out to, if Mission has a tumbling and gymnastics, we might reach out to them and say, hey, who's your instructor? Do they have any contact? You know, so we try and work those.
They're not afraid of you poaching.
Well, we wouldn't poach. We would just ask if there's someone that they might know somebody. Can we talk to your instructor for a reference? Or, Chloe is really good about, she's just got some built-in networks.
Sure.
Automatically. And so if she gets a new instructor for fitness, sometimes it's like, hey, do you happen to know? Because those networks kind of all run together. So she's done a really good job of building our classes and our programs. So she just seemed to have this network that is awesome to have. The rental program did experience a decrease from 2025 in the number of rentals as well as participants. While on the surface it might be alarming, the revenue of room rentals did exceed what was budgeted for 2025. So by almost $20,000. So we are gonna see ebbs and flows and rental numbers. So we always kind of look at where we're at. And while we exceeded what was budgeted for 2025, we were only like $5,000 off of total revenue of 2024. So it's just kind of odd, the size of the parties, what was happening with those. But it is something we look at. And while I was looking at this, I realized that we didn't have field and soccer numbers added to it. So I've corrected that for future reports. So we did have field and shelter rentals. It just got missed in the report this time, and I didn't catch it until I was really studying the numbers to get ready for the meeting. So I'm happy to answer any other questions about the fall report. No? Okay.
One note on gymnastics, you might reach out to the 6A school systems that still had
Okay.
gymnastics because Keisha's ending it. So there
Okay.
might be some coaches looking for.
Okay, that's a great, thank you. I'll share that with Chloe tomorrow. I did hear that.
Oh, yeah. There was only a relatively comparatively small group, and there's quite a bit of push for girls flag football right now.
Title IX, gotta keep them moving. Okay, all right, so we're gonna move on to the annual report, and just as a reminder, this takes all the seasons and compiles it into just a snapshot look by category. And so this shows since 2021 when we started keeping numbers for this building. Eventually we'll have to drop off a year, cause we'll run out of room on the paper. But I thought it was, this is just telling, and I know 2021 was a completely different time, but to scroll down to the bottom and look at the growth over the last 5 years, that was impressive to me, because even though 2021 was a different year, every year we're seeing significant growth. We had 5.1% growth over last year in total, but it's 127% from 2021. Just had to throw that in there, because that, I mean, staff has really worked hard. I'm very proud of the work that our staff does to grow these programs and our communications team to promote them. So it is definitely a team effort to get the word out with what we do. For the, there's only 2 categories for the year that decreased compared to 2024, and that's again rentals, which you can see it fell off in summer and in fall. We were really strong in the winter and the spring. And then youth education, and that is those are usually workshops that either staff does, or we have somebody that comes to us that wants to do certain workshops, and those in general have just kind of fallen off. We don't have people that come and do, educational workshops per se, so we'll probably see that number kind of level out where it's at now. With the exception of member visitation, cause that is just a large program in general, and kind of different than youth aquatics and fitness. But so I want you to have that as a caveat to this statement. The largest program increase in participation is seen in 50+ programming, followed by water fitness. So those two are really starting to really take off, and we've got some really good instructors. We've really focused on 50+ programming. That is the demographic that we need to serve right now. They're really using our services more than other people. Yes, adult fitness is picking up, but the boomers are here, and they've been here for a while, but they're really here, so.
We have free time.
We love it, and we love it.
Sort of.
We love it, so, we are having a concentrated effort with that, but we are still focused on our youth and our adult, but those have really been a focus in the past year, and the work that staff put into that really shows with the growth from 2024, so happy to answer any questions about lots of numbers, lots of data, but that's how we decide what we're doing, how we're doing it. No questions? All right. Moving on. Are you okay with me to move on? Okay, perfect. I just kind of keep rolling unless you tell me something different. All right, so let's talk about the high school visual arts competition. The number of submissions, the evaluation was included, so I just want to hit a couple of highlights out of this evaluation. The number of submissions kind of significantly decreased this year, and we're not really sure why. Don't know if it's because the teachers have realized that, we do have a little bit smaller space, or they realize that submitting thousands of work is really just a lot of work for 125 works to be submitted. We're not really sure. So we are evaluating a new way for work to be submitted that might streamline it and alleviate the workload from teachers, and maybe put the workload on students with a little bit of guidance from teachers. So we're testing and piloting a new program with a handful of our more, I don't want to call them renowned, but some of our schools that really participate and really submit a lot of work, and because they're the ones that have been doing the work. So we're testing a new program with them to kind of get some feedback to see if that would alleviate and maybe encourage more people to participate. Just trying to feel it out. Not that the show suffered, we still had a lot of quality work, but it's something that when you go from getting, 1,000 works to getting, I think it was 400 works, you kind of go, oh, what happened there? But the quality was just as good. So I think it might be kind of a realization that we're putting forward all this effort, and it might be wasted labor. So we'll see. Just something we want to evaluate. And new for 2026 that was just announced, as one of the evaluation notes in there, Ingrid had noted that we're evaluating our prizes for 2026 because we really haven't done anything different with them since we changed to gift cards. When I first started, we were doing like gift cards to like Dick Blick and photography things and things like that. And we're like, while that's nice for these kids, sometimes just putting a Visa gift card in their hand for them to use however they want to use it is probably better. So we switched to that shortly after I started. I'm gonna say maybe 11, 12 years ago. I don't really remember, but it wasn't the first year I was here. And so we kind of looked at that, we're like, we're still giving $100. Well, $100 is a substantial prize in today's economy compared to 10 years ago. It might encourage children to participate if it was a little bit more substantial. So we approached the Merriam Park Recreation and Community Center Foundation. This is the last year for the purchase award for the Heartland because our wall space will be full. And so they were looking at new ways to support art. So we asked them if they would be interested in being the sponsor for the high school art show and the prize fund, and they said yes. And they decided they weren't gonna wait till 2027, that they would go ahead and do it in 2026. So that's gonna allow for us to, in 2026, change our prize structure, and it'll completely be funded by the foundation, which relieves a, operational burden from our budget. So, we're very excited that we're gonna be able to do that, so look for that in 2026, so.
Question and a comment, Anna. Question is, any feedback on why the decline in entries?
No, we've reached out, because the schools that have been actively in, like, the Lawrences and the Blue Valleys, they still submitted significant work. We don't know if it's some of the smaller schools, because we didn't get anything from Fort Osage, sorry. My neck of the woods, Fort
That's
O.
okay.
And so, but that teacher might have retired. And so
Does anybody reach out to you?
we do reach out, and that email did not get responded to, so we don't know if she retired, if they're not forwarding, and we didn't get a bounce back notice. I mean, we are starting to see that turnover with some of the teachers, because we've dealt with the same teachers for a long time. So we're
Maybe
thinking.
you have to go to the principal directly or something.
Well, we're trying to just make sure our contacts are up to date too, so that's also something Ingrid is working on now, is just confirming with the schools that teachers have, like, we try and do that in the fall too, when contracts, you know, we know contracts have been solidified and we know who's coming back and who's not coming back, but, you know, we do our best.
Yeah.
We can't force them to do it, but we did notice that some of our schools that we're consistently seeing didn't come back. And some schools are hit and miss, especially some up north, on the Missouri side.
I worked at check-in desk, as you know, and that was a lot of fun. But after that, I went over and listened in the hallway to the judge, and he said something that kind of struck me, and maybe it's nitpicking a little on my part, but he mentioned later on in his presentations that he had a bias for Shawnee Mission North.
But he does not know who the students are.
Okay. He doesn't know who
No.
the schools, okay.
No, we label those.
I just thought that was a strange comment
Yeah.
on his part.
I would say that, also, but when we label those works, the judge is judging blind
Okay,
to the schools.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, good.
We try and eliminate that from the school is eliminated from his spreadsheet, and when the works come in, he's just looking at a work of art.
Okay.
So how it might have been his
Would
way
you
of
know the
being
names of
funny.
the artists at all?
If he did, I don't know how he would know. I mean, because that's also, he just sees the work
Okay,
and the medium. So he goes through 2 rounds of judging. He goes through a blind, like a digital round of judging, and then he comes in person. And at all those judging rounds, we send him a spreadsheet with just, this is the work of art, this is the this is the digital, this is the digital.
Okay.
So I don't know how he would have known
okay.
what school they were from.
Mm.
So I don't know if there were a lot of Shawnee Mission North students that won, that it was kind of like an off-comment joke that he might have made.
I think he might have mentioned it after a North student or two was awarded.
Yeah.
So.
And he, I believe, is a graduate of North, so that might have also, it might not have just been a fully formulated comment.
Okay.
But that's a good question, because we wanna make sure that people don't think that
Yeah.
they have any idea.
So I know, like, you know, last year you said there was about 1,000 that were like, you know, works that were submitted.
Well, it dropped to, I think it was 800.
Yeah.
At our peak, we were well over 1,000 works of art.
Which, I mean, if you're only accepting like 100
Yeah.
or so, is there, you know, any?
That's max. 100 is max.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is, you know, I guess equality and like, I guess engagement enough where if these are students, you know, instead of just doing it once at the end of the year, do it like once a semester sort of, like at the end of the semester.
Yeah, the only problem with that is finding time to fit that into our schedule and eliminating, and this is a lot of work for staff. Like,
Yeah.
this is 3 months of work for staff. So we do want the quality to remain high. We just wanna make sure that it's not a word of mouth, we wanna make sure that we're giving equal opportunity to people,
Yeah,
so.
well, I just know with the schools, you know, you're
Yeah.
being, you know, per semester sort of thing,
Yeah.
like if that's, you know,
Well,
what's the engagement if it was like
A
semester?
lot of this work is from upperclassmen that have been working on some of these pieces for longer than a semester.
Yeah.
Like, they might be pieces that they're working on this spring for next winter.
Are there other competitions, across the metro?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there are.
Okay.
Yeah. Overland Park does one specifically for the Shawnee Mission School District. They don't even reach out to other metros.
Okay.
So they do have other opportunities, so, yeah, but we will, and I know Ingrid's really working to, evaluate that. I mean, she's talking to people, she's trying to get feedback, so she's aware.
Is the timing of ours versus, another community's clash, or?
I don't know, ours has been this for 30 years, so if somebody joined, they did it after us, like they
Oh, okay.
copied
Okay.
they copied us.
I think the timing of it is good though, because like you said, the upperclassmen, sometimes if they are submitting for scholarships and they have awarded art, they can highlight that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was, attendance by like those students who submitted at the actual event?
So we only had one student that was awarded a prize that wasn't in the audience, and they don't know. Like, we had a very good crowd that night.
There were still a lot of leftover badges on the table.
There were, we're never gonna get 100%, but we planned for capacity of that room,
Sure.
and we were close.
Yeah.
So, with parents and students but we don't tell anybody that they have a winner, and the fact that all of them but one was in attendance was like, oh, they're here. Like, we as staff were like, they're here. It just really, you can tell by that picture, there were a lot of people.
Yeah, good.
Or a lot of the award winners were here, so very excited about that. All right, Christmas in the Courtyard. This is a free event, obviously. So just a few things that I wanted to point out on the evaluation. We did add additional characters this year with the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, and that just provided additional photo opportunities, kind of alleviated a little bit of the Santa line for a little bit, because it gave people something else to do while they waited for Santa, which is always lovely, because that line sometimes is hard to manage. This was the first year that both elementary schools performed. We staged in Esther Brown, and they exited directly onto the courtyard, which worked perfectly. We do need to consider having the schools sing songs together to maybe maximize staging. There was some staging issues and they didn't quite get lined up. We didn't have a staff assigned to get them like moving fast enough. So we started a little bit late, which, I mean, at the end of the day isn't that big a deal, but you know, you wanna be prompt. You wanna, if you say you start at 6, you wanna start at 6. So, we're looking at things like that. We did have lights on Basque, but as I've reported, there's things that just didn't work quite right with that fix. So we put spotlights on it so that it appeared to be part of the event. It wasn't just darkness there, but not having that and the trellis lights and then shutting off the string lights, which we've always have done, kind of did darken. It didn't quite have the same ambient effect. So we'll just have to monitor that. Obviously, we're in the process of fixing Basque, so that shouldn't be an issue next year. But it is one of those things that we just need to be mindful of from a lighting perspective. We added lights to the library. They were still washed out because there's still a lot of backlighting, even though we shut off a lot of lighting at the library. So the goal is to take the lights that we used on Basque and move those to the library, and talk to the library about maybe shutting off some more of their ambient lighting in the background to help with that. It just helps make it feel like it's part of the event. And so we are still evaluating that. We will assign a staff to Santa to get him in the building. Santa came out, and of course he wants to hug and greet and somewhat bombarded, and I just happened to be standing there and I'm like, hey Santa, let's follow me. And so, but we didn't necessarily have somebody assigned to do that, and if I had been standing there, Santa might not have ever made it into the building. So just some little things like that. The delay of the light in general was just location of the mayor to the switch. We had the mayor pushes a button and only lights the tree. We're in closets flipping switches so all the building lights come on. We had tested the timer. We thought we were in the right spot. The box that receives the signal from the switch had gotten kind of moved, so the signal was a little bit interrupted, so there was a slight delay, but in the scheme of things, it was seconds. It wasn't minutes. It was just, oh, it didn't hit, click, oh, it didn't hit again, click. So, you know, nobody was, you know, at the end of the day, the mayor, we just need to evaluate where we put that sensor so it receives the signal. That's the only light that the mayor turns on. Everything else is controlled by staff in closets, listening to the countdown. So, anyway, it's great. I take it into a closet in here. Any other questions about Christmas in the courtyard?
I'll say the Grinch and Cindy Lou Who, my daughter fangirled so hard. Yeah. yeah, she kept like, I don't know, big year for Grinch with our family.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was like walking around.
That's
and
awesome.
It was a great addition.
Good, we like to hear that.
Yeah.
It's always amazing to me, cause I think the Grinch is scary.
Yep.
Like, I'm not a big Grinch fan, but I'm amazed, cause she's only 2.
Yeah. Almost 3.
Almost, yes, but I just, cause you have other people that just scream when they see characters, so yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad to get that feedback.
TV exposure.
I'll share that with everybody for sure. Sorry, making a little note. All right, we'll talk about breakfast with Santa. The next day, we like to do boom, boom, boom. We love 3 events back to back to back. This event, again, very well attended. It's sold out again this year. We are at capacity and we can't do anything more in that room. We've talked about, do we increase it? But that kind of makes it a signature event. It drives the need to want to be part of it and to get in early. So if we were to add to it, then that's gonna maybe decrease that demand. So at this point, we're gonna just stick with 1 event and just, our wait list numbers aren't very big, so we do it twice for half the amount of people each time. Kind of takes away from the event, so we like the fact that this is a in-demand event. The Boy Scouts have been a great addition. They now do the pancakes for this. They stayed and helped clean up. Like, it's like, oh, yes, please stay. Yeah, you wanna help? Great, here, help, clear off tables, wash off tables. They've been a great addition to this event.
Which troop?
I don't know.
Marion Christian.
247,
I think,
Yeah.
I just know some of the troop members.
It's the Merriam.
Is it? Yeah. It's the same one that does the 5K run. Yeah. Phyllis's grandkids are in that troop, and she's an instructor here, so that's how I relate to that troop.
I've heard from neighbors, they were great.
Good.
They said all the high school kids were, or like the teenagers.
Yeah, that
The big kids.
Yeah, the big kids.
Were awesome.
Good. We're glad to hear that. As you can tell, the net of this was a little bit in the red. We did increase the price this year to $8 per person, knowing that there were going to be some increases in expenses. We do have to rent a Santa and a bench. So in years past, the Santa has been a donation. We're hoping that maybe we can get back to Santa being a donation now that his health has improved. So we're gonna see if that maybe be an expense we can get rid of, but at this point, it is what it is. But in addition to the Santa expense, everything else just went up. And, had expenses stayed the same, we would have been great, but that's just not where we're at right now. So, our goal is that this event just breaks even, so we can close. And hopefully, next year when we do it, we're able to maybe eliminate some of the Santa expense specifically, because as you can see, our other expenses, they're minimal for what it is. Our big expense is obviously the pancakes and Santa, which is what this is. So anyway, there isn't a lot to cut to eliminate $127, and you want to be careful in raising the cost so it's out of, we want it to remain affordable for families. So any questions about that? All right, move on. So the only upcoming event we have is the February Art Gallery. It is the 30th anniversary of the Art Gallery, so at your spot, we are giving these stemless glasses to our artists. And then Ingrid just thought it would be nice to make sure that City Council and Park Board also had a commemorative, glass as well. So please take your commemorative glass home with you this evening. I'll make sure the people not in attendance gets theirs.
Thank you.
This was all done by Ingrid. I would have just set the glass.
Nice presentation.
Yeah, she does a very good job with presentation. I would have just given you the glass, but, that's how Ingrid rolls, and we love her for that, so. Any questions about diversity in art? Okay, I do have an art committee update. They ended up canceling their first meeting January 8th due to illness, but they reconvened January 15th. They are working to finalize the RFP for the next art project. I believe Dave has gotten some comments back on that, and so I think it'll be ready for the February meeting. With his retirement announcement, I will be stepping in as the liaison to that committee, so I will be attending, starting with the February 12th meeting, so we will hopefully make that a seamless transition. So that is the art committee update. Any other questions, comments before we move on to new business? All right, new business. In your packet was the memo that I kind of created to summarize the request from Crestview. They've, just as a reminder, they've requested a reduction in fees for their annual fundraising campaign. This is the second year that they will be here at the community center. Staff is making the recommendation that since this fundraiser supports children of our community, within Merriam specifically, yes, there are children that are outside of Merriam, but this elementary school is in Merriam, and the profits from this go directly to benefit them. I mean, last year they got risers and a whole list of things, tables for the dining room, some gaga ball thing for the PE teacher. Like there was a list of things that they had used their fundraising for. Staff would make the recommendation that we actually waive the rental fees and let them use the space at no cost, and only have them charge for the hard cost associated with their rental, which would be the alcohol permit, the security, and the after-hours staffing cost, which is still $625 in total. Instead of at the resident rate, it would be $1,500. So cutting that in half, with the hopes that then that's just more things that they can get for the kids in the school. So that is staff's recommendation, but this is open for your discussion and your direction to tell staff what you want us to do.
What did we do last year?
Last year, we just gave them the resident rate.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, instead of the commercial rate, because they charge for tickets, but they were a good rental. You know, they were very respectful, things were cleaned up. And we weren't really sure what it would look like that first time, but with them being, we give other organizations that are considered our partners space, so I kind of was trying to mirror maybe that now that they came back to us.
I'd be supportive of that. I think it's a great event for their school.
Yeah.
I think it is good to hear back from them as to what those funds went to, though.
Yes.
Well, they said didn't they tell us some of their plans for the fund for next year?
Not yet.
They haven't?
No. We didn't ask that question, we only asked what the funds had been used for.
I like having it in Merriam. I know the year before they did it at the American Legion in Shawnee.
Yeah.
Maybe before that out there too.
Yeah,
I'm
they-
sure some kids from.
Has there ever been a situation where, instead of the non-resident fee and the resident fee, you take the resident fee and cut it in half?
We can, for this specific.
For any event? If we're requested
Yes,
a break?
yes, we could, yes, we just try and apply it equitably and try and have a justification so that, if somebody were to look at how we're applying the fees, we can show, precedence for why
Yeah.
that decision was
Yeah, we've
made.
already shown a precedent
Right.
anyway, but I was just curious.
Yes,
Did
yes,
they pay a lot more when they went to the other place?
yes. Well, I don't know if it was a lot more,
It was more.
I think coming here, it costs them more. I think if I went back and looked at last year, that was one of the reasons they came to ask for a variance in the fee, was because to go out to the I don't know,
Knights.
Knights or American Legion or whatever. They've been in Shawnee for several, like, prior to coming here, they've been in Shawnee. And, they thought it would be better now that we have this space to come here, but they knew it was going to cost more to come here.
And it's not a big fancy event, it's very church basement, so they're not blowing a lot of money on
No.
decorations and atmosphere.
Right.
It
And the costume.
definitely is.
Yeah, they bring
Amazing
they
for-
bring their fun with them, making people, you know, themes and things like that, so, yeah.
It's tired teachers.
Yeah.
PTO.
I mean, I think the two things are that one, they wanted to come, like
Yeah.
bring it into
Yeah.
Merriam, and number two, that it benefits Merriam kids, the school is geographically here, it makes sense to me.
I move to support staff's recommendation.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Alright, I will make sure that we notify them tomorrow so that we can finalize, we have them already on the books, but we wanna finalize, the financial piece of that rental, so, anyway.
So when the Girl Scouts came, did it occur just about the same as the year prior, or did you have more problems?
No more problems.
Okay.
I mean, it's a lot of people, it's managing the thing, I would not make this recommendation for that rental room.
We got our money's worth, we need to, they need to earn their keep a little.
Yeah, and that's a larger base of people that we're serving, it's not directly benefiting the community of kids in Merriam, so,
There's more wear and tear, they're using more things.
yeah,
Just a meeting room.
yeah. But yes, overall, you know, every year it just kind of depends on who's responsible for each section, kind of how we're left, so wasn't maybe a little trashier this year, but not anything where we were, you know, struggling to catch up for days.
Do we get a report out, like, after, like, these events that we approve, or, like, in case, like, like, they're great last year,
Yeah.
we're cleaning up, but then this year it was like a big mess or
So
something like that?
typically, if they want to come back to us, they'll make that request to come back, and then that's why I always provide a follow-up memo to have this discussion during new business, so you get staff's perspective of how the rental went from last year, so that, you know, if there was an issue, we're looking to address it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so we'll make, if the Girl Scouts come back next year, like this was the first year they used this room, we will put some parameters on being able to use this room. It was kind of their quiet room, which was fine, but then they used markers, and the markers bled through, so then we had to clean the table, which at the end of the day isn't a big thing, but
It takes time.
it takes time.
Yep.
Yeah, so just little things like that.
Thank you.
Do we have any other business?
I just want to ask about youth representative, any progress or,
Well, Tyson,
okay, he's still on?
he's
though,
still
right?
on, yeah,
Oh,
he has a 2-year term, he just had a
Okay.
swim meet tonight.
Okay, that's fine, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Yeah, nope, Tyson is still very much engaged in wanting to be it, he completely followed protocol and sent me a little note and said, I have a swim meet, I'll try and make it,
Okay, that's fine,
So,
just curious.
yeah.
Anything else, or do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
All right,
Want to go?
good to go.
Hannah, did you
Guys.
get the adoptive park request from Timber Ridge?
I don't get those,
Oh, who gets them?
well, right now Swell does.
Oh. Okay. What would it cost to have a second desert air unit? Hannah?
I'm just,
Oh.
sorry, I have to think about, I don't know why you'd have a second one, because first of all, there wouldn't be roof space for it, but that unit costs about $1.5 million.
Wow, okay, that's a lot. No, I mean, at our work, air conditioning's pretty important, so we have more than we need so that we can take
Yeah.
one offline for service and they rotate. 1.5 is a lot though.
Please pass along thanks for the glasses, those
Yeah.
are so cute.
Yeah, I will, you're welcome.
See you later.
I'll try to drop those magazines off Saturday.
Yeah, thank you.
Could we use numbers instead of names for the artist, or for the judge, for the art thing, so there's no question of them preferring one name over another?
We
or-
just give them the title of the work and the medium. There's no number.
Oh, there's not even names?
No, there's never been names.
Okay, uh-huh.
Hey, yeah.
Hey, yes. Okay, yeah.
Be fairly straightforward.
Yeah, and wait, that's why I was checking this on. Should he call him in? No, he didn't leave.
It's about to, our teachers and others who get
Yeah.
If they want to take that.
Yeah, if they want to, yeah, and Ingrid does have she has a crafted message that she sends. So yes, so just let me know what you want to do and we can go from there.
Yeah, if they, they may be happy.
Yeah.
with less
I understand.
to do.
Well, and
So I don't even-
teachers are working, I mean, that workload is a lot, so that's why we're trying to evaluate how we have them submit to maybe two. Okay? All right, thank you.
And Anna, the door is down that way. Why is the left one always locked? The one that doesn't have the opener?
Because it's an exit door?
But are you saying that one of the two doors that are adjacent to each other is an entrance door and the other one's an exit only?
Well,
door?
you always come in the right door and you go out the left door, or you go, yeah. You always use, when you come in, you should always use the right door. The left door, when it's unlocked, doesn't relock properly.
Okay.
So we just keep the automatic door open, so
Yeah.
people can open that by themselves. The other door is more of an exit door,
Okay.
so.
Not relocking properly seems like a reason to me. I
And
always
we've been trying to get it fixed,
Yeah,
but it's not a simple fix.
yeah.
And every time they work on it, it seems to work for a little bit and then a mechanism in there slips. So we've just made the effort at this point that until we can figure out a better solution for it, locking down, is just to let it be. There's a way to get in that door.
Yeah.
And it's ADA accessible, so we're not,
Yeah.
it's not a fire code issue.
Yeah, pulling a handle on a mechanized door is heavy and it causes pain when somebody has like a tendon injury in their fingers.
And the ADA
So-
button is right there.
Yeah, I know that.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
and there's slider doors right here. So it meets ADA requirements, so that's.
Yeah, I get it, you're not legally obligated to make it more usable. I'm just saying it would be more usable as a patron if it wasn't locked.
And I understand that, but we also have safety of the building, and until we can get it to function properly,
Yeah,
we're kind of at the mercy of the door not functioning properly. And we've had door vendors out to look at it multiple times.
I think it's been like that since we opened, hasn't it? I
It
mean,
has worked off and on since we've opened.
Yeah.
And there's a weird mechanism in the key lock that that design of that door, so we're looking at, do we change the push door mechanism and take it off the key to a lockdown system like the old doors, but it just hasn't been a priority with other maintenance needs in other doors.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. What attitude?